Hello everyone! This is Reverend Naoya of Los Angeles Gedatsu Church. Today is September 29th, 2022. We had the Ohigan service and offered prayers and blessings to our ancestors on the third Sunday of this month. Ohigan is a 1-week period of time on the days of the spring and autumn equinox. During this period of time, Japanese often visit their ancestors' gravesite, perform ancestor blessing, and clean their ancestral altar or grave. Why? The equinox is when the lengths of day and night are equal, when the sun crosses exactly across the equator, rising from due east and setting due west. From ancient times, Japanese have worshipped the sun and believed that the spirits of their ancestors resided on the other shore of enlightenment, in the distant west where the sun sets. Therefore, they believed that they were closest to their ancestors on the days of the equinox. That's why Japanese visit their family graves and give prayer and blessings to their ancestors at that time. Ohigan has other important meanings and is similar to another Japanese event called Obon. If you want to know more about these traditions, please go to our Gedatsu YouTube channel and watch this video. And don't forget to click like button and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, recently I watched a Disney animated movie, Coco. Have you ever seen this movie? I'd like to briefly talk about this movie because it deals with serious themes like the importance of family, remembering and honoring one's ancestors, and understanding the close relationship between the living and the dead. The concept for Coco is inspired by the Mexican holiday Day of the Dead. So the main character of the story is a young boy named Miguel, who loves and respects the legendary musician Ernesto de la Cruz and dreams of becoming a musician like him. However, his family strictly bans music because of something that happened in the past. One day, Miguel is accidentally transported to the land of the dead and finds that unless he returns to the physical world by sunrise, he will become a skeleton and can never escape from the land of the dead. There, Miguel meets a charming trickster named Hector. The two new friends go on an extraordinary journey to unlock the real story behind Miguel's family history. I was surprised and happy to see the many similarities between the land of the dead in the Coco movie and the spiritual world that we often talk about from the Gedatsu viewpoint. For example, in the movie, it was interesting to see that two specific rules needed to be followed in the land of the dead, which is 1. Living family members must not fail to put a photo of the deceased on the family altar. Otherwise, the departed soul is unable to visit them on the Day of the Dead, where families welcome back the souls of deceased relatives to celebrate with them. 2. If living family members forget about their deceased loved ones, the souls of the deceased experience a kind of second death in which their souls no longer exist even in the land of the dead. In other words, the living keep the souls of their deceased relatives alive by always remembering them. I really think the Day of the Dead is very similar to the Japanese tradition called Obon as well as today's Ohigan. Master Gedatsu Kongo stated in his great work Shinko or Sincere Practice, communications between the spiritual and present physical worlds are constant. We can perceive the workings of the spiritual realm which are just like those of the present physical world. He said the spiritual world and our present world are alike. So we can imagine that the spiritual world is like the land of the dead. Gedatsu Kongo also said our remote ancestor spirits dwell in the divine realm. However, our recent ancestor spirits are usually still in the common spiritual world. When I deeply think about this, I feel that the second death depicted in the movie is the time when the ancestors go to the divine realm or reincarnate to our present world. But anyway, watching Coco may help you better understand the meaning of Gedatsu Kongo's words. If you haven't seen the movie Coco, I strongly suggest that you do so when you have time. It is just entertaining and fun, but at the same time, it delivers a deep and moving message about the constant interaction between the physical and the spiritual worlds. A Romanian-born American writer, Elie Wiesel, once said, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. The opposite of art is not ugliness, it's indifference. The opposite of faith is not heresy, it's indifference. And the opposite of life is not death, it's indifference." The saddest thing for our ancestors is not having descendants who complain about their ancestors. Instead, it is being forgotten by their descendants. Therefore, it is a great joy for your ancestors to give prayer and blessing to your ancestor souls at the occasion of Ohigan. I strongly believe that your remembering them naturally leads to your true happiness. Remember, the opposite of love is indifference. COVID pandemic, souls and the spiritual world, climate change, war between Ukraine and Russia, Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ, global economic inflation. We cannot ignore what's happening in the world. We cannot be indifferent. We have to keep ourselves open to events and situations and be actively interested in them. Let us do and practice whatever we can to improve the situation even slightly and make sure that our actions are full of love. I'd like to conclude my remark today by praying for your continued happiness and health. Thank you very much. Bye.